To try to run this net the same way we run all of our other nets. We're going to do away tonight with the call districts. We started call districts long before the text check-in was around. And we're just going to try it tonight and see how it works. That's the only difference. All over the rest of our nets are all run this way. So we're just not going to take call districts. That's the only change. We'll take text check-ins along with radio check-ins, and we'll run it till the list dries up. Like I said, we ran the net like this for many, many, many years, and all the rest of our nets are run like this. So we want to see if how it works out and see what you think tonight. So that's actually our question. Should we stay with call districts or go with general check-ins? So when your turn comes up, please comment what you would like to see. Would you like to stay with call districts or go with general check-ins? And that's our question for tonight for our trial run here. As always, we'll start out with team members, see if they have anything to report. Kevin V3BZ will be in here with his swap and shop. Joe is in here. I'm sorry, we do have one silent key tonight. Joe is in here, KD2FTB. With the celebrity of the week. We'll take new users, as we always do. New users to the system, if you've never, to the net, if you've never been on this net before. We will put you up at the top of the net and let you get in. So it's always, nothing's changed there. So we'll go to stations with questions. Hopefully we'll have some good amateur radio related questions. Then I'm going to turn it over either to Scott, W2BLT, or Roger, K04QMM, who's in here with us tonight. Miss Vicky is here, K8VKY on the log, as usual. What else do I have? Well, let me see. Does any of the team members have anything that they would like to report this evening? Once again, this is Dick, WB2JPQ. VE3BZ. KO4FRR, KO4FRR. Right, Mr. Kevin, VE3BZ, and Joe, KO4FRR. Good evening, Kevin. What do you got for us tonight, my friend?
Good evening, Dick, and good evening to everyone on the net. For tonight's swap and shop, I have two listings. First one is from Charles, KC6UFM in Guatay, California. Charles has a Simo Solis hotspot, Wi-Fi hotspot, for sale. Does not require a SIM card. Works with all U.S. LTE carriers. Service plans start at $6 a month. Has a USB-C rechargeable internal battery. Supports 2.4N 5 gig Wi-Fi. It is very small. It'll fit inside your shirt pocket. And it's only been used twice. And is no longer needed. Works great for portable or mobile nodes or digital hotspots. Let's see, asking $40, shipped in the U.S. lower 48, and PayPal only. And Charles' email is kc6ufm@gmail.com. And the second listing is from Richard, WB9CSB in Paris, Texas. Richard has a Yaesu FTM 1802M, looking to trade it for either a Yaesu FT7800 or FT7900. The 1802 works as it should, but has a shredded mic cord, but the mic still works. And Richard's email is WB9 csp@amateurwire.org, or you can call them at 347-395-0930. And that is it for this week. If you have anything for sale, trade, or want, just go to eastcoastreflector.com, contact ECR and SWAPnet submissions. Alright, and I guess I'll answer tonight's question. I kind of like to call districts. Back to you, Dick. VE3B said.
Thank you, Kevin. One for the call districts to start us out tonight, and that's, well, you know, you were at the meeting last night. You know the drill. We were going to see what everybody likes. Thanks, Kevin. Joe, KO4FR. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Dick and everybody else on the net. This is Joe, KL4FR. I just wanted to announce that we implemented a new listen live on our website. Just go to eastcoastreflector.com, click the listen live, and then click on the click here for listen live, and this will give you a nice representation if you want to test your audio. It's a lot better than we have. It just gives you a actual graph that you can see how well your audio is if you need to make any adjustments. And I would like to thank the approval of G7 RPG from HubNet for allowing us to use the FTT auto spectrum that he created for those nice folks. This is Joe, KF4FR. Back to you.
Thank you, Joe. And yes, team behind the scenes is Joe has been working hard. Beautiful VU meter on the website, right where the other streaming audio was. Got a visual, so it's there for your use. And thanks to Joe for getting that on there for us. Once again, tonight we are not going to do general check-ins. We're going to take, like any other net, we encourage you to use the text line, 716-317-9050. I see they're coming in droves, but they are coming in, or text at ECR.radio if you're in an email. Just put the text at ECR.radio as the address. Put your call sign, and only your call sign, in the subject. I guess it doesn't matter whether it be in the subject or in the body. I guess it goes in both ways. It's for our friends overseas, that for people that have to pay toll calls. So we have it both ways. So no call districts tonight. The old school way, the way we've done it for years in the past, and the way all of our other nets are run. We do encourage when you do call in, like Joe, and I guess Joe didn't answer the question, but Kevin, and when you're asking a question or when you have an answer to a question, please give us your answer to our question tonight, which is, should we stay with call districts or go with general check-ins? That way we don't have to keep coming back to you and speed things along. Hopefully we can get more people in and out the door, and get people to bed maybe a little bit earlier. Let's give it a try here tonight. Anybody else in any other team members have anything that they would like to report tonight? Well, hearing nothing, they said we have one silent key that popped up out of our database, and that being KI5HCD. KI5HCD, Robert from Grants, New Mexico. Does anyone else have a silent key that they would like to have remembered here tonight, preferably from the East Coast Reflector family?
K5HLH.
5HOH or HLH, go ahead.
Good afternoon to everyone on the net. This is K5HLH in New Mexico. We want to report K5EN, that's Kilo 5 Echo November. He actually got licensed in 1955 in New York, and his QRZ page is still up if you're interested. And we have a little bit about him on our club webpage under KE5SWL at the bottom. K5HLH, back to net.
Thank you for reporting him. He's licensed 3 years earlier than I was. Anyone else have a silent key that they would like to have remembered here on the East Coast Reflector tonight? Nothing. Kind of ironic here tonight. We have two silent keys. K5EN, Richard from Grants, New Mexico. KI5HCD, Robert from Grants, New Mexico. Both from Grants, New Mexico. If we could have a moment of silence for these two silent keys. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Henry, or Harry, rather, for bringing one to our attention. Joe, KD2TFB. It's your turn, my friend. What do you have for us tonight?
Well, thank you, Dick. I would say general check-ins should be the norm, like all your other nets. I honestly think it's a little unfair that if somebody has to, say, go to bed at an earlier time, they might only check once every 10 weeks because they're rotated. If it were randomized and you had several weeks published in advance, that'd be something. But I would go for the general check-ins. And this week's Celebrity Call Sign of the Week comes to us courtesy of QST Magazine, March 1990 edition, and thanks to Mike, KA2GVY, for providing me with the magazine excerpt, which provides most of the information for this edition. It was late October 1983. Tony had been recording a while when he decided he needed to take a break. Turning to one of his favorite hobbies, he turned on his 20-meter rig. After a while, he heard someone talking about the U.S. invasion of Grenada. Incredible! He called up the CBS newsroom, asking if they knew anything about it. Surprisingly, no, they didn't know. So they sent a crew over to the Power Station Studios in New York City to listen in. Tony wasn't sure if it was okay for broadcasters to rebroadcast amateur radio, so he put in a call to the FCC. They did not object. It wasn't long before CBS had set up a camera and a network feed from Power Station. Tony always liked this aspect of amateur radio communications assistance in times of need. He was becoming known as the Master of Disaster because of his appearances on CBS and CNN representing amateur radio during hurricanes, earthquakes, and the like. I will admit, Tony's name is not as much a household name as some of our other featured people in this series, although I will say he's famous enough to warrant his own Wikipedia page. Actually, this is more like previous Peggy Sue Guerin. people don't know her as much as they know Buddy Holly, who sang about her. In a similar way, Tony's cousin John is more the household name. Unless you're, quote, in the biz, unquote, you wouldn't necessarily know the record producer and recording engineer Kilo X-Ray 2 Zulu, or KX2Z, Tony Bon Jovi. More likely you've heard of his cousin John Bon Jovi, frontman for the band Bon Jovi. Kilo Delta 2 Tango Fox Bravo Deck, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Joe, for enlightening us again this week. Once again, I want to remind everybody before we go to new users of the system, we are not doing call districts tonight. So a good way to be sure yourself to get on the list up at the top is to use our text line. Use some of the tools that we provide, just like the Morning Brew and any other nets. The only difference is tonight we have stations with questions and we have new users to the system. Vicki will probably start adding call signs somewhere, maybe down around line 25 or 50 or something, and we'll just work from there. It's a little bit different tonight with not knowing how many questions and so forth, and she'll have to type all these in after we get through with the new users and questions. But we'll work it out. Not our first rodeo for any of us. Who do I have that's new to this net, that has never checked into this net before? Can we get your call sign twice? This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
This is KF8ELB.
We got a KF8ALB, but that doesn't sound like Travis. Can we have your call sign twice, please?
KF8ELB. F8ELB. This is Barbara.
And it sounds like Barbara. I think I heard you talking with Bob, KB3SNM last week. Good evening, Barbara. Welcome. You certainly are with a new call sign as well, and you're new to the East Coast Reflector and new to this net as well. So I do encourage you to get a current email address on QRZ so we can, our system will automatically send you a welcome letter and get you to our database of 19,000 and some odd people. Which way would you prefer the net, Barbara? Answer our question first. Using call districts or general check-ins, you might not know, but you could ask Tim to help you out. Good evening.
I think I'd prefer the general check-ins.
Right, general it is. Do you have anything you'd like to enlighten us with tonight? How long have you been licensed?
Everybody, this is my first time on the net, and everybody's having a good night, and we'll be listening.
Well, thank you for being there, Barbara. I was talking to Tim earlier today and this evening, and he said you guys might make hamcation in Orlando. So, good Lord willing, I'll be there again. We'll have to see how it goes. Who else do we have? Users that are new to this net. If you've never checked into this net before, please give us your call sign twice.
Q4 QIP Kilo Delta 4
Quebec, India, Papa, and I did check into the text line also just to let you know. Right. Well, we'll try to remember to take you off the text line. We'll get you in as a new user to this net. You see, did not come up red on the log. If you come up red, it means you have I guess they don't see that on the fetch log. I don't think they see that. We do here on our log sheets. But good evening, Huntsville, Alabama, KD4QIP. Good evening to you. I would say, just by my knowledge, is the general check-in. I have not heard district check-ins yet, so I don't really not have anything to compare it to. But just sitting here watching the SpaceX launch and seeing if they're going to bring this back in and put it in the water. Okay, Barb. Thank you for being there tonight. Thank you for being first time to the net. Yeah, it is hard to, like Barbara before you, it's not a first time user question. You need to have been here for a couple of weeks anyway, last week or the week before, whatever. But it's all good. We'll put you in as general, kind of see how things roll. What else do we have new to this net? If you've never checked into this net before, please give us your call sign twice. Once again, this is Dick, WB2JPQ.
Victor Echo 3, Romeo Sierra India. Victor Echo 3, Romeo Sierra India. Daryl and Windsor.
Well, I guess they come one at a time tonight. Daryl, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, VE3RSI. Good evening to you, Daryl. New to this net, you also do not have a current email address. At least our system is not finding you. Get one on, you'll get a welcome letter from us. And how would you answer the question? Again, it's tough for you guys that have never been in here before, guys and gals that have never been in here before. Should we stay with the call districts or go with general check-ins? Good evening, Daryl. E3RSI, are you still with me?
VE3RSI, yes, I'm here.
All right, there's another node that keeps keying up over the top of you. Go ahead. How would you like to could you answer our question tonight? Should we stick with call districts or go with general check-ins? Like I said, it's kind of a tough question if you've never been on the net before. Good evening to you. To QU, listening. Daryl, what's going on here? Windsor, Ontario. Would you care to answer our question tonight?
I've been trying to answer the question. I think I'm dropping out here. I am walking around with a HT, and I'm a newly licensed ham operator.
Well, welcome to amateur radio, and you are dropping out. Rule of thumb is when you're talking on an HT, stand still, keep your radio vertical.
That's a good point. I was actually walking, just trying to get away from this traffic, to try and keep the noise down.
I think that's what it is. I think you've got something going on with your radio. Seems to be timing out after about 342 packets. You want to try it one more time?
Let's see if I can try this again. So I am a new ham. I wouldn't know how to answer your question. I hope you can hear me.
I hear you. Please answer the question.
I would have to say general.
General, it is. It might be a battery issue there with that HT. You might have enough oomph to get out a sentence and then it goes dead. But you got something going on there. You are definitely cutting out. But thanks for being there, and we're here every Tuesday night. We have been for the last 636 weeks, which is 12 years plus. Good Lord willing, we'll be here another 12 plus. Thanks to Daryl. Who else do I have that's new to this system? I shouldn't say that. I can't say that. Not new to the system. New to the Tuesday night TechNet. Call signs twice. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
November Charlie Kilo Victor. November Charlie Kilo Victor.
That doesn't sound quite right. There's got to be a numeric in there somewhere. NCKV. N0CKV maybe? Is this Mark?
Roger, it's Mark. And 0. Charlie Kilo Victor.
Hey, Mark, you didn't say the 0. You didn't say, you said NCKV, and we looked at each other like there's got to be a numeric. Unfortunately, Mark, you have been in here before. You're coming up red on our screen. So I'll have to ask you to call in with general check-ins, if you would, please, tonight. But thanks for giving it the old college try. Who else do I have new to this net? Call signs twice. Last call for new users to this net before we go on to stations with amateur radio related questions. Nothing. Let's see what's going on in the question field tonight. Stations with an amateur radio related question. Same drill, call signs twice.
November 0. Charlie Kilo Victor with a question.
There we go, Mark. And I see the Plattsburgh area repeater, Plattsburgh, New York, keying up. There's somebody on that trying to get in. You're either not making it or just keying the system. Mark, N0CKV, go ahead with your question and answer our question if you would. Would you like us to stay with call this? Or go with general check-ins like we are tonight?
General check-ins. I think that's easier for everybody. And the question is, what does an All-Star node give me that Echolink wouldn't or doesn't?
We'll put that out to the group, but much better sounding audio for starters. What do we have out there? David, are you there tonight, K4FXC?
Yeah, WB2JPQ and the net K4FXC. Well, it offers a lot, whereas Echolink doesn't really have basic repeater or rig control. All-Star's got lots of rig control features, plus built-in conferences, which are very limited in the sys-op mode for. In fact, I guess you can. I guess you can do it now, but it's limited in for Echolink. All-Star just offers a lot more all the way around. It's a full repeater controller, which Echolink is not. So that's depending on how you're trying to use it. Now, if you're trying to use it from a smartphone or something like that, then All-Star's not got a whole lot additional to offer except better audio in general. But these days, the smartphone audio can be pretty good. Anyway, just a few things. It's a long list, and definitely. Depending on if you're serious about linking a radio in to a network for full time, I'd recommend All-Star, but that's of course my preference since I've developed Handboy. K4FXC.
K5HLH.
Thank you, David. Is there another comment from K5HLH?
Roger, K5HLH. You're going to find that Echolink, when you're using it from your home computers or IP addresses, they only allow you to use one IP address at a time. If you try using your smartphone and your PC on the same IP address with Echolink on your home system, Echolink gets very upset and has a tendency to cut you off. That's why All-Star is a little bit better when you're doing more from the home. But just thought I'd throw that in there. Back to net, K5HLH.
All right, thank you, Harry. Anybody else have a comment for Mark? W2BLT. Good evening again, Scott. Go ahead.
Yeah, from a net controller's point of view, Echolink, a lot of times they will forget to hit that button a second time to unkey, and they stay keyed up until they realize that they haven't done it. With All-Star, when you unkey your microphone, you're done.
Everybody, whenever I feel like it and wherever I go, so I'm pretty happy with All-Star. This is Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Zulu Romeo, Chris out of San Antonio, Texas. We'd love to have you with us, Chris, but this is a directive net, and everything goes through net controller. Would you like to make a comment? Please let us recognize you, and we'll ask you for your comment. Thanks, Scott. Sounds like Scott's on the front porch. You can hear the cars going by. Mark, I hope that was a couple of good answers for you.
Yep, it sure was, and I appreciate the information. And 0CKV back to net.
You won't go wrong. Once again, I want to remind everybody that we're running a little experiment here tonight. We are not doing call districts tonight. So if you're hanging around waiting for call districts, it's not going to happen. We're doing this net like we do every other net, just general check-ins or text check-ins. We encourage you to use our text line, 716-317-9050, or if you're on a computer, you want to email text at ecr.radio. Your call sign and only your call sign. Stations with amateur radio related questions, 36 past the hour. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. EQ4LEL. Berry, Florida. Oh, I know where that is. I used to have a winter home in Orange City, right next door. KQ4LEL. Good evening. Thank you, Dick. My question deals primarily with the radio that I'm looking at maybe purchasing. I am currently a technician, going to test for general/advanced in September. I really like the AZU equipment that I've purchased up to this point. Does anyone have any negative opinions of Yaesu 991? We ought to be able to find you an answer on that. A lot of 991s out there. Who'd like to take a stab at that question? KC6UFM. Good evening, Charles. KC6UFM. Good evening, Dick, and everyone on the TechNet. Yeah, Murray, I actually have 4 991 Alphas, and there is a known and well-documented problem with the surge protection that is built into the USB port. That surge protector will fail, and interestingly enough, the audio will still work, USB audio sound card, but the cat control ability through that port will fail. And as I say, I have 4 of them, and it's failed on 3 out of the 4, and of course just outside of warranty. And Yaesu wants $700 to replace the entire board instead of replacing the one bad device. Now, if that is not a problem for you, then the FT991 Alpha is a good radio, because even if it fails, you can still do cat control through the built-in RS-232 port on the back, the 9-pin DIN connector back there, and get the audio out of the USB port. So there is a workaround for it, and if you have better eyes and better hand stability than I have, you can replace just that device. It is readily available from Mauser and DigiKey, but it is surface mount technology, which my old eyes and my old hands just won't do that. But I know of a lot of people who have replaced that part. It's like a $3 part or something, but Yaesu will just replace the entire board and stick you about $600 or $700 for it. So. But other than that little issue, the 991 Alpha is a great radio, great entry-level radio. It's not gonna go up against the big guys, but it's a good entry-level shack-in-the-box radio. Back over to you, Dick, KC6 UFM. Thank you, Gerald. Anyone else like to make a comment on the 991 before we move on to another question?
K4KWQ.
K4KWQ.
Good evening, everybody. It's K4KWQ. I have a 991 here, and the same thing happened here. The USB port decided to die. Of course, it made it so you couldn't talk to it with any computer program, not PSK, not anything like that. And of course, I sent mine in. And this was about 5 years ago that I sent it in, and it was still $400 to fix it. And as the other gentleman said, they replaced the whole entire board, and it was just out of warranty. 1 year and 3 months from the time it was brand new. So a much better choice in my book, and I like really well, and it's the ICOM 7300. Back over to you, Dick. K4KWQ.
Well, there's another 991. Thanks for the question. Hope that helped you out.
Thank you, everyone, and Dick especially. Yeah, I was actually considering the 7300 as well. I don't know what I'm going to do. But anyway, just a comment, Dick, your coverage in Buffalo, especially North Buffalo, I travel there to visit my dad, is amazing. I mean, the East Coast Reflector is well covered. Thank you again. KQ4LEL, back to net.
Before you go, I got to ask you to answer our question. What would you like to see us stick with, call districts or general check-ins? I see you've been on this net 9 times before, so you want to have an opinion.
Dick, I prefer call districts, but that's just me. I'm kind of one of those people that likes organization. I think it's more organized. Back to you.
Great, point well taken. That's what we're doing the whole exercise for, to get the opinions of our users. Thanks for being there. And I just looked you up on QRZ and clicked on it. Know exactly where you live. James, Gulf, Ontario, VA3JIC. Good evening, and how would you answer our question tonight? I see you have never been on this net before. You're new to the East Coast Reflector as a whole, so you might not have an opinion. Good evening.
Good evening, Dick, and thanks so much for taking my call. Well, you know, I think, yeah, you're right. I don't have an opinion, but I think I'd prefer to see check-ins versus regions. And I do have a tech question, if you don't mind. I have an Elinco, a DJ5 DMR radio, and it's not talking to the Pi, and I've tried everything.
See if we can find you an answer, James. And we'll put you down for, what did you say? I guess you said general. You said general. Anybody, what did you say, the DJ5? Anybody familiar with that, trying to run it with a hotspot?
This is K1KHJ.
K1KHJ, Perry, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Dick, and everyone on net. I have one of those radios, and I use it with a 5-star hotspot, but I'm going to need a little more info, I think. He says it's not talking to it. Does it not come up on the dashboard, or
Have you double-checked the frequency? I'm sure you've done that, but just a little more info if you would.
Victor Alpha 3 Judy, India Charlie. Well, thanks so much. So the problem I'm having, it's like the radio is a mute. It doesn't hear or listen. I've checked the frequency. I've redid the pi again. I thought it was a password issue with Brandmeister, which it wasn't. But it will not talk to the pi or even hear the pi.
Does it work with, do you have any other GMR radios? Will they work with this hotspot?
Do not have another DMR radio. I was actually thinking about maybe putting the D-Star over there or the YSF over.
I guess the only thing I would try is if, no, that's not going to work either. You know, why don't you email me with as much information as you can think of. I'm good on QRZ. We ought to be able to figure this out. It's K1KHJ.
Sorry about that. I did not get your call sign. Can I get that again, please?
Kilo 1, Kilo Hotel Juliet, K1KHJ.
Here we got Kevin VE3BZ in here with a comment. Maybe he can help you out. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Dick. One thing I would suggest is making sure that the color code and time slot match on both the hotspot and the radio. That could be an issue. Back to you, Dick VE3BZ.
Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, where are we here? K1KHJ was giving. James, did you get K1KHJ? Get his call sign. He's good on QRZ.
I believe it's K1KHJ.
Correct, K1KHJ. His name is Terry, and he's from Tigard, Oregon.
Thanks so much. I will look him up on QRZ and definitely send him an email. And definitely we'll look at the color code and the time slot for sure. Dick, thanks so much for taking my call here. And the two gentlemen, thank you so much for the information. I do appreciate that. This is Victor Alpha 3 Judy, India Charlie.
James, would you like to answer our question tonight? I know you haven't been in here before, but would you prefer call districts or general check-ins as our question tonight?
Dick, I would prefer general check-ins, and I will be a frequent flyer here too.
36 weeks, so I guess we're doing something right. Alrighty, let's see. Thank you, Kevin V3BZ, for your comment there as well. Anybody else? Stations with an amateur radio-related question? Call signs twice, 50 past the hour. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
With a comment on the hotspot, November 8, Oscar Alpha Yankee.
November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo.
All right.
Roger, we got you. And for RHE, and we got Dave in Huntsville, Alabama, with a comment for the previous question. Go ahead, Dave.
One thing I have ran into with some different HTs and using them with a hotspot. I don't know what kind of a radio that you guys got, but the TYT MD390 and the BTEC 6X2 Pro, which is a fork off of the Anytone handheld. Both of those radios won't tolerate blank lines in the channels list. I've tried to space out the channels the same way that I have in my other HTs with some blank lines in there, and it breaks. Those two radios will not, they just won't key up anything on DMR with blank lines in the channels list on your CPS. RT Systems has a video for the MD380 and 390 that explains that on YouTube. N8OAY, back to that.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you for your comments. And would you care to answer our question tonight? Do you prefer districts or general check-ins?
I'm sitting on both sides of that fence. I want to say it's not broke, so don't fix it. But on the other hand, I use a repeater sometimes that times out after 2 hours, and if the net goes longer than 2 hours, I miss the tail end of it. So I'm going to say it's not broke, so don't fix it. Go with call districts. N8OAY.
Thanks for your comments. Put you down for call districts. Yeah, the net always, I shouldn't say always, but it does run more than 2 hours. It's usually 2.5 hours. It's usually 10:30 East Coast by time we're done. So we'll put you down for not broke, don't fix it. Thanks for your comment as well. Roger, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and for RHE. We're all ears, brother.
WB2JPQ, good evening, Dick, November 4, Rematel Echo. I finally found the microphone for this 444-150 Hollywood repeater. It's disconnected. My question, the rubber on my microphone cord next to the mic is deteriorating. What is the best fix before the wires are exposed? Regarding the format, as long as you leave space for the radio check-in, say run 10 text, then a few radio check-ins. November 4, Rematel Echo, return to net.
Okay, so you're saying general check-ins as long as we were talking about that before we got started here tonight. I don't know. We were thinking, like you say, 510 of this, 510 of that. Try to split it up if we can. It's be a logging nightmare here for Vicki, but we're gonna stumble through it tonight. She's got probably 25 call signs to put in. We have to manually put them into the log. We're working on it. Joe's working on it. On an automatic way to do that, but that hasn't been implemented yet. We'll put that out to the group, but buy a new cord, 1-800-AMAZON. What kind of a radio is it? I just bought the other day. What was this radio? One of the Elenkos. I just bought a couple of replacement cords for one of the Elenkos. That's got the 8-pin connector on it. What kind of a radio is it for, Roger?
It's for my Yaesu. It's the one that does digital too. The cord is really thin from the factory. Okay, I'll check it out on Amazon and see what I can find. Thanks, Dick. Thanks to all. November 4, Rimitel Echo.
That's really the only way you're going to do it, and have it look somewhat presentable. I know Vicky put a couple of quarts here a year or so ago, or I don't remember what the radio was. Yeah, I do. I think that was a. I think it was a. Yeah, that was the Yazo, wasn't it, Vicky? Yeah, that was the Yazo. Might be the same radio. So she bought a replacement cord, as I recall, Roger. So, anybody else got a suggestion for Roger before we leave that question?
W3ICQ.
I heard David, and who was the other question? See, Vicky's got it. It's Bob. Hang on a second, Bob. David, go ahead.
Yeah, K4FXC. I was going to second Dick's comments about just replacing the cable. They're usually very inexpensive. The Yaesu mics, for whatever reason, they seem to fail more readily than some of the other mics that are out there, like the HM48s and others. The cables seem to fail pretty quickly. They were available for about $10 each on eBay. It's probably higher than that now on Amazon either. And it's literally just unscrew the microphone and plug and play. It unplugs from a little connector on the back, and then plug it right back in. Just screw the microphone back together, and away you go. So definitely the easiest plan. You can also use heat tubing, which, depending on the microphone, if it's you may or may not be really practical, but I have had success in extending the lifespan with heat shrink tubing. Just putting it around the damaged area and then shrinking it, and it held on for a good long period or longer. But usually once they start to fail like that, the best thing to do is just go ahead and replace the cable entirely, which doesn't cost too much money, and it's pretty easy for the Yaesu at least. And I prefer just generalized check-ins, I believe. I'll withhold my full answer till the end of the net just to kind of listen to how it goes, but K4FXC.
All right, catch you down for General David, and yeah, we'll see how it goes tonight. Just an experiment. Thanks for your comments. Yeah, shrink tubing works, but like you say, it's not a lifelong fix, it's very, very cumbersome. Roger, hope that was help to you. And how do you want to answer our question tonight? Roger, would you like to answer our question tonight before we move on?
Sorry, Dick. Yes, I went with general, as long as you leave the 5 or 10 text and then space. I want to thank David for his answer. I can, $10, I can do that. My ICOM, all my ICOM microphone cables are substantially more robust. So general, thanks, Dick. November 4, Rimitel Echo, return.
Roger, you did tell us we got so much going on here tonight that I lost track. Thanks for your question. Thanks for the comments as well. Bob, Leesburg, Florida is up next. We'll get 3 ICQ. Talk to Bob this afternoon. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Dick. Yeah, I don't know if I've been on this TechNet or not. I think I have been one other time. And as far as the question, I prefer general check-in. It seems that I always miss my round, my turn on the other one. So general it is. And then I just wanted to make one more quick comment. Changing the cord is the most logical solution, but if for any reason that can't be done, or you need an emergency fix or something like that, I always turn to liquid electric tape. Liquid electric tape, it's a marine solution. It's non-conductive, and I've used it when I'm boating, and I don't have another solution, and I gotta insulate wires quick. So, but the bad news is it probably costs more than the cost of the cord. So anyway, I just want to check in and say hello tonight too. Bob, back to you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for your comment. And yes, you have a 1 in front of you, so what does that mean? Does that mean his first time, or has he been here once before? Once before, Bob. And Bob gave me a question for tomorrow morning on the brew, so come join us at 7 o'clock East Coast time and hear what Bob's question is. What else do I have? Stations with an amateur radio related question. Your call sign twice. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
4 Golf 1 November Yankee Sierra 41 NYS.
Stephen in the Philippines, 4G1 NYS. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thanks, Dick. I do have a question. What is the audio codec of the All-Star and the Echolink? I have also noticed that the All-Star transmission, when I'm listening to TV Switch, they are much rather than the Echolink, which is kind of sounding like a phone patch from the telephone. That would so that I could also invest on some hotspots or nodes in the future, especially those equipment like the Raspberry Pi. I've always heard the Raspberry Pi, the Shark RF, and all of those hefty equipment that our colleagues in the hobby are doing. You all have a great job there. 73, that's my question.
I'll refer that question to Dave. I don't know what the difference is, but there's a big difference in audio, Stephen. David, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, K4FXC, the codec that's used exclusively for Echolink is GSM, the GSM codec, and it's one of the lower, I guess, bit rate conversions. GSM's got several different flavors out there, but the version used is sounds kind of papery. The audio doesn't sound quite as, it's certainly not as full-bodied, as much dynamic range. The preferred codec for most hubs and everything is probably the MULAW codec, but certainly most of the remainder of the codecs sound better than GSM, but GSM will work, and it certainly gets the data across. K4FXC.
Thanks, David. And remember when it was raised on Echolink, it made it sounding much better. Thanks for your question, Stephen. There's your answer. What else do I have? Oh, Stephen, you didn't answer our question tonight. Which do you prefer, general check-ins or call districts?
Dick, my answer to your survey question today, I prefer general check-ins more than the segregation per area district. That would also have more people chances to come in rather than waiting because they missed their round. So put me on the general check-in column for your survey, Dick. Thanks very much.
K4FXC, another comment.
Thank you, Stephen. From the Philippines, general it is. So what else do I have? Stations with an amateur radio related question.
K4FXC, another.
Sorry, go ahead, David.
No problem. I was going to mention, I guess the second part of that question I kind of just skipped over. Audio level settings. For Echolink and All-Star, you can adjust the receive and transmit gain as it comes in and goes out to Echolink. and they are part of your rpd.com file and the node settings, and it's ERX gain and ETX gain, RX and TX. So look for those parameters, and you can adjust the levels for Echolink coming in and going out, and that can get it so that the levels you're more in line with everything else. So you can adjust that separately. It's per node, yes, per Echolink node. So it's just one setting for everybody, but at least I can get it a lot closer. And I think usually the numbers I use, I think RX gain, I think set to -5, I think, and TX, I think, to 4, and that's in dB, increase or decrease, 0 being unity. So just another thought, K4FXC.
Thanks, K4FXC, for your reply for G1NYS. Sending it back to Dick and the whole team there.
Thank you, David. Thank you for your question. Thank you, David. Stations with an amateur radio-related questions. Call signs twice. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
WB3EGD, WB3EGD.
W1LAX, Whiskey 1 Lima Alpha X-ray.
We got two in there. We got David from Alden, New York, W1LAX, and Richard, WB3EGD. Go ahead, Richard.
Thank you, Dick. Good evening, everyone. My question is, I've been attempting to provision, if that's the right word, my ground wire app on my phone to configure it for use with amateur wire and voice over IP system for ham radio. And if anyone out there has successfully done that, perhaps they can give me a clue as to what I've done wrong, because although I can dial out, I always get an error message when I do. And when someone dials into me, it doesn't ring, but they can leave me voicemail. So if that gives any clues, using ground wire for amateur wire, I'd appreciate any input. Thank you. And by the way, I prefer call districts. WB3EGD back to net control.
Richard, call districts it is for you. We'll see if we can find an answer for you. Anybody help Richard out? Anybody successfully used ground wire? Somebody was in the Zoom room, said they got it working. It worked once, and then it didn't work anymore. So I'm no help to you. Anybody help Richard out? Doesn't sound like it, Richard. Sounds like you're, you were in the Zoom room earlier today looking for some answers. Unfortunately, we can't get you an answer tonight. Let me move on to David in Alden, New York, W1LAX. David, good evening.
Good evening. Very simple question tonight. I'm just looking for a signal report. I hooked up my Kenwood to a battery with a new antenna, and I wanted to see how it sounds.
Sounds great, David. Thanks for being there tonight. While you're in there, you want to answer our question tonight? Do you prefer call districts or general check-ins?
General check-ins.
You're a first-time user to the net. You've been on the East Coast Reflector before, but never into the TechNet. All right, who else do we have tonight with amateur radio related questions? Call signs twice.
And 6QDY and 6QDY.
We got you, David, N6QDY. Does anybody else have a question tonight? We'll take one more question after David. I'll let Vicki start loading some of these text check-ins in. Anybody else have a question besides David from Sacramento, California tonight?
Whiskey 4 Hotel Kilo Lima.
Steve, we got you. W4HKL. David, N6QDY. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, good morning, Dick, Ricky, and the crew, and everybody in the Zoom room, N6QDY. And I love that spectrum analyzer. What is it? An ECR Listen Live FF2 audio spectrum, and I can watch the gain and whatnot for the spectrum, audio spectrum. Anyways, question. Well, let me answer your question first. So I'm good with the call districts because I can set my time on when I have to be there to check in. So that's one. Let me break. Okay, and then the other thing is I have a beam antenna. One of the elements is broken. The question is, if I were to get a coupler to join the broken element back to the entire beam, would that mess up the pattern because the coupler is obviously going to be a little bit bigger? That's one question that came to mind. And would I introduce some kind of impedance bump in there? Anyways, back to you, Dick. N6QDY.
I'll defer that question to Charles, but give me a little bit more information. What are we talking? UHF, VHF, HF? What kind of a beam antenna are we talking? And when you say a coupler, what are you talking about? A sleeve or something to go over a broken element?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a VHF antenna. I think it's a 4-element. I don't remember. And the coupler would be the sleeve that would, like a union, to help the broken element attach back to the entire beam on that broken section. And it is VHF.
And one more question. Is it the director, reflector, or the driven element?
This one would be the director.
You, Charles?
Thank you, Dick. David, this is one of those questions that, strictly speaking, if we get real technical and real nitpicky, yes, it's going to create a problem for you. On the other hand, in a practical sense, you're never going to notice it. It's just that simple. However, if it is, you said it was VHF, UHF, if it's a rod, go ahead and use a coupler on that, no problems at all. Just make sure that it's equal on both sides of the boom and that sort of thing, so you got the right lengths and everything. On the other hand, if it is tubing, if you're really worried about that, instead of using a coupler, get a piece of rod to slide inside of 2 pieces of the tubing to re-extend it. And but as I say, it's not going to make that big of a difference at all. You will never notice it unless you haul out $1 million worth of test gear. Back over to you, Dick, KC6UFM.
4FXC. Yeah, K4FXC, I agree 100% with what Charles said. Certainly you can repair it, and just connecting it back together with either a sleeve outside or a piece of tubing inside and just clamping it or screwing it together, whatever, that'll work great. Try to keep the length as close to exactly as it was. The length is critical, and the spacing is critical, so keep the spacing and the length as close as you can get it to what it was originally. But all that being said, since it's VHF, those are pretty short elements, and you can probably find a complete replacement piece of tubing available at a hardware store or whatnot nearby, either that or eBay. It's all available on eBay or Amazon. So, and you can ship, since it's a 2-meter antenna, you can ship a piece of tubing through the mail or through UPS or whatever. So it should be very easy to repair. The main thing is keep the spacing and the length just close as possible that you can get it. I mean, 1/8 of an inch matters at 2 meters. So try to keep it really, really close to like it was originally designed. K4FXC.
Thank you, David. California, David, was that any help to you, I hope?
Absolutely. Charles, Dave, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. A lot of help there. More answers than I expected. Man, this net is awesome. All right, back to you, Dick. Thank you. N6QDY.
Alrighty, thank you, David. Take one last question from Steve, W4HKL. I see, Vicki, you've loaded the log sheet with 10. We're going to do 10 text check-ins, 10 radio check-ins, 10 checks, and so forth and so on. Once again, we are not, for those of you that are coming late to the party here tonight, we are not doing call districts tonight. We're running an experiment. That's also a question tonight. Do you prefer to call districts or general check-ins? We are not doing call districts tonight. We're doing general check-ins. We encourage people to get on to the text line, text their call sign in to make it much easier for everybody. Text line once again, 716-317-9050. 716-317-9050, or text at ECR.radio if you want to text in using an email. Steve, W4HKL, your question, please.
Good evening, Dick, everyone on the net. The question I have is, like on an automotive install for HF, I have a rear-facing camera. It's actually in the back of the vehicle. It's full-time because the rear, it just is non-existent, the rear viewing in the back of this vehicle. And on some of the bands, I do get some issues with that camera. The display is actually over the rearview mirror. And sometimes it's a little herringbone, which is no big deal, but sometimes it actually switches it to front view, which is kind of annoying at times. And I do have some ferrites loaded up near the actual view screen, but other than just putting ferrites everywhere that I can on that long cable that runs the length of the vehicle, does anybody have any other ideas about, minimal RF issues on a vehicular HF install? Back to net, W4HKL.
See what we find. Boy, if that's all you got, a little herringbone, I'd run with it for would like to, Charles or David, would either one of you like to field that question?
KC6UFM.
Charles?
Thank you, Dick. Steve, I would, it sounds like you've done due diligence so far. I'm kind of with Dick. I think if if all I had was a little bit of herringbone, I'm not sure I would worry too much about it, because what you're probably going to end up having to do is get back there to the backup camera and put ferrites on all that, and maybe even put some bypass capacitors on the power lines going to the camera. And I'm not sure how much work it's worth to get rid of a little bit of herringbone noise. I would be tempted just to, as Dick said, run with it, man. You're on the air and it's doing pretty good, and it's not all over the band. I didn't catch if you said that there was one band in particular that was bad, or if there were just a few select frequencies in a couple of bands. But I think we're talking about something here where you're going to get into a whole lot of work and not gain a whole lot from it. But that's just my opinion. Others may have a different opinion, and your mileage may vary on that. Back to you, Dick. KC6UFM.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, K4FX again. I 100% agree with those comments. Charles, I also mentioned that you might try turning the power down and see where or if the interference goes away. If you find that the interference is only there at high power, I don't know if you're running 100 watts or higher power, or what power level, and you turn it down to 50 watts and the interference goes away, well, in that scenario, it might be worth trying ferrites or, doing other kinds of things to try to improve the situation. But if you turn the power down to 5 watts or 1 watt and you've still got the problem there, then it is probably absolutely not worth even trying to do anything, because you're not gonna get enough RF out to resolve it. So it's a pain. I have that issue with backup camera on my car too. So it's I have seen it happens on 6 meters of all bands. Anyway, K4FXC.
Well, thank you, David. Steve, all I can say, do you know what a hero I would have been back in the day of rabbit ears if I could have got all my neighbors' TV sets down to just a little bit of herringbone rather than to completely tear them up? Steve, do you have any further comments? Was that any help to you?
Roger that. Yeah, it was a lot of help. Appreciate the gentleman who chimed in. And it is power dependent. 50 watts, I don't really have the issue. And the herringbone doesn't bother me, but there is I can't remember which band it is. It's probably one that I probably wouldn't use that much anyway. But it will actually switch the actual view from rear to front, and it'll stick like that. So then I have to reach up and kind of mess with the camera to get it going. But it's a minor inconvenience. And I can access that cable at different places along its run fairly easily, so I think I'm going to put more ferrites on it at different locations, see if I can't break it up a little bit and keep it from getting in. But my vote is districts. I think it helps eliminate the train wrecks, but either way works for me. Back to net control, W4HKL.
Districts it is for you, Steve. Thanks for the question. Thanks to David and Charles for their answers tonight, along with others that have made comments. I'm going to send it over to Scott to BLT. He's going to take the first round here and get the second part of the TechNet underway. So see you tomorrow morning, everybody, at 7 on the Open for the Brew. Thank you, Vicki, for logging. Scott, it's all yours. W2BLT, good evening. This is WB2JPQ.
Alrighty, thank you, Dick. This is Scott, W2BLT in Buffalo. The way we're going to work it tonight, we got a ton of text check-ins. Isn't that amazing? What I'm going to do is I'm going to run 10 text check-ins, and we'll take a few radio check-ins. And we'll run 10 more text check-ins, take some radio check-ins. That way the guys on the radio aren't waiting all till the end. And we'll see what happens. Let me acknowledge these 10 tech check-ins first. We had, and these, by the way, are the order that they came in tonight. We had KD2JPP Bob, KA8BYU Roy, K2CMT Mike, K2CMA Chuck, KC6 UFM Charles, KE2CCK Matt, K5HLH Harry, KK4SED Les, and W4BPX Don. Let's take those. Bob in Gallatin, Tennessee, KD2JPP, question of the evening. Should we stay with call districts or just go to general check-ins?
I don't know if you can hear me, Scott.
Yes.
Okay, just as I pressed the transmit, something happened. Anyway, good evening to everybody on the net. For my opinion on the two methods, calling into specifically the TechNet is by call district. It has some order to it. You can kind of approximate when your district will be called. But I guess we'll find out after tonight. We'll see how it lays out. Everybody have a good night. Stay safe. Have a great week. Back to net control.
All right, thank you, Bob. Have a good night. KA8BYU Roy in Blaisdell, New York. You've been in here over 160 times. What do you think?
Put me down for general check-ins. I think it'll speed up the net and in the long run, and it's from a net controller's point of view, it's a little bit easier to handle. This is Mike, K2CMT. Everyone have a great week.
All right, thank you, Mike. Have a good evening. And I caught you before you went to sleep tonight. K2CMA, Chuck in North Tonawanda, New York. Good evening, Chuck. Need I remind everybody that the text check-in line is not for in and outs. So if you go by the text check-ins, we expect you to stick around and say hi to us. Let's go to KC6 UFM, Charles, Guatai, California. Good evening, Charles.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody on the TechNet. This is Charles, KC6 UFM from beautiful downtown Guatai, California, where we had almost 2 inches of rain yesterday and about another inch of hail. It was an interesting day. But in any event, as far as the question is concerned, one of my advanced degrees, Scott, is in mathematics. And, I like an orderly universe. And my initial thought was that, we need to stick with call districts because that's going to be more orderly. On the other hand, though, there are a whole bunch of benefits to the just general check-in, so I'm going to cast my vote for general. Anyway, many thanks to you, Scott, and Dick and Roger for herding cats tonight, and I see Vicky's in the logging room there, and good to see her here tonight. Hope things are going well with that. But otherwise, not a doggone thing going on here in Guatai today. It's been another beautiful day and makes me remember why I paid the sunshine tax to live here in California. So back over to you, Scott, 7-3, everybody, KC6, UFM, back to net control.
All right, thank you, Charles. Appreciate you joining us. KE2CCK, Matt in Frankfurt, New York. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Scott. How are you? I hope everyone on the net's doing well, too. I would have to say general check-in.
Although I like it the way it is. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. But it's easier on the people that run the East Coast Reflector to do general, I'd say go right ahead and go for it. And yeah, well, I hope everybody has a great night, and I'm going for general. This is KE2 CCK, back to net control.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, K5HLH, Harry in Grants, New Mexico. Good evening.
Good evening. This is K5HLH. I vote on general check-ins. I like being able to get in and out. The net sometimes runs pretty long here in New Mexico. Also, for a note, this evening, both the Silent Keys announced we're members from the Cibola County Amateur Radio Club, which is our local club. Thanks for running the net, K5HLH.
All right, thanks, Harry, and appreciate you letting us know that. You have yourself a fine evening. Next up, KK4 SED, Les in Claremont. Good evening, Les. I haven't talked to you for a while.
Yeah, good question, Katie, but I'm going to stick with the call district. Been doing it for a long time. Don't like change. KK4 SED, back to net. Good talking to you.
Alrighty, call district it is. Thanks, Les. And the last on this first bunch of check-ins, W4 PPX Don down in Hollywood, Florida. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, Dick, everybody on the net tonight. Put me down for general. I think general's going to work out just fine. 7-3, hope everybody has a good night. W4 PPX, back to net control.
Alrighty, Don, general it is. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty, folks, we'll take about 10 call-in check-ins. Anybody looking to get in on the TechNet tonight, please come with your call sign twice and slowly.
KD2VNU, KD2VNU.
This is November Juliet 1 Sierra. November Juliet 1 Sierra, Eric in Vermont.
Kilo Charlie 5 Charlie Zulu X-ray KC5CZX.
November 1 Whiskey Echo Bravo. November 1 Whiskey Echo Bravo. W2 KJV. W2 KJV.
Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet. Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet.
Well, we'll hold it up there for a moment then. We'll cut it off there. We had KS6 HDJ Brent, W2 KJV Tony, N1 WEB Web, KC5CZX Daryl, NJ1S Eric, KD2 VNU, and I think we had a station in there from the Philippines. If you could come back with your call sign again, I'd appreciate it.
4G1LOR, 4G1LOR, KSL.
Is this Byron in San Pablo City?
KSL po, Roger.
Alrighty, we got you, and we'll get to you in just a moment. Let's go to the top of this list. Question of the night is, should we stay with call districts or go to general check-ins? This is W2BLT. And next up, KD2 VNU, Derby Dan in Derby, New York. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening to the rest of the net. I'd say general. It gives people that come, first serve type. I know the others like it for pacing, but
It'll probably cut down on a lot of the missed calls. KD2, VNU, return it back to the net.
Alrighty, General it is. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Have a good evening. 4G1 LOR. Byron in San Pablo City over in the Philippines. Looks like you're new to the system. Welcome. And do you prefer text check-ins or call districts or general check-ins?
Yeah, the KSL, just supporting your net, morning net. And no more traffic at 7 to 3. And thanks. God bless.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, and you have a good week. Next up, NJ1S, Eric in Shelburne, Vermont. Good evening.
Yes, good evening to you, and this is November Juliet 1 Sierra. I personally vote for the structure of the net with the check-ins. I don't know if anyone remembers it or not, but back before we had the structure, you had about 1,000 people calling in at once, and it was practically impossible to get a check-in, at least when everybody was trying to check in all at once. And as winter approaches, it's going to mean more people indoors. But I'm just one vote. So back to you. Scott, have a great evening, and to Dick as well, and the rest of the net controllers. 7-3 from NJ1 Sierra. Over.
Alrighty, Eric, we got it down for call districts. You have yourself a good evening, and thanks for joining us. Next up, KC5CZX, Daryl in Lubbock, Texas. Good evening, Daryl.
Well, good evening to everyone on the net. They each have their advantages and disadvantages. I'll admit that, but I'm game for general check-in. So back to net, KC5CZX.
All right, thank you, Daryl. Have a great evening, and maybe we'll talk to you one of these next few mornings. Let's go to N1WEB, Webb in Collierville, Tennessee. Good evening, Webb.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you for everybody behind the scenes. I could almost go either way on this. I was going to say I could be the tiebreaker, but seeing what the stats are so far, it looks like General's taking the lead. Put me down for call districts. I kind of like the structure, call districts, and 1 WEB back to the net.
Alrighty, Webb, call districts it is. Thanks for joining us. Next up, one of our team members, W2KJV, Tony in Homosassa, Florida. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening, Scott. Good evening, Vicky and Dick, everyone on the evening net tonight. I could go either way also, but I kind of like the uniqueness of the call district, so put me down for call districts. Hope everyone has a great night. Back to you, Scott, W2KJV.
All right, Tony, call district it is. Have a great evening. Next up, KF6HDJ, Brent in Pensacola, Florida. Good evening, Brent.
Well, that was annoying. My note always seems to have to ID when it's my turn. It's like it knows or something. Anyway, good evening to everyone on the net. I'm going to have to go with just the general check-ins. I know the one time, and I know it's not as important as the morning brew, but because it's later in the evening. But I remember the one morning you tried it on the brew, and I couldn't get in because, when it was, I got to work before my call. So, anyways, good general, and sorry for being long-winded. KF6HDJ.
Alrighty, Brent. Well, you can rest assured that we're never going to go to call districts on the morning brew. Have a good evening. All right, let me acknowledge 10 more text check-ins. We had KE2GIM, Lewis, K6AAN, Mike, VK3AWA, Daryl, AC4BR, Brian, N8OAY, Dave, KJ5MNV, Bernard, KO4FRR, Joe, W2AJR, Andy, K1KHJ, Perry, and KN0LZE, Todd. This is W2BLT's question in the evening is, should we stay with call districts or go to general check-ins on the TechNet? Let's go up to the top here to KE2GIM, Lewis in Manorville, New York. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone to the net. New ham, new to the net, only checked in a few times, so honestly, the question I don't know. I don't know the answer to. But as far as checking in with the text messages, I kind of like it because sometimes you're trying to jump on, you're trying to get your call sign in there to check in and stepping on each other and things like that. So the text is nice. You can get on the list and you get the text back. You know you're checked in, and then you just sit back, relax, and wait for your call sign to come in. But like I said, as far as the question, I'm not sure of the answer to that one.
All right, Lewis, you have a great evening, and thanks for joining us. K6AAN, Mike in Valley Springs, California. Good evening, Mike.
Well, good evening, everybody on the TechNet tonight. I'm going to go with the call sign districts. The other way sounds like you're having a lot of pile-ups and people. We got so many people come in here on all-star notes and all that. It'd be pretty vicious. So we'll see how it goes tonight, but put me down for the call sign districts there. This is K6AAN, back to net control.
Alrighty, Mike, we got you down for call districts. Thanks for joining us. VK3AWA, Daryl, Paradise Beach, Australia. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, listeners on the net. Definitely put me down for general, Scott. It gives a wider window of opportunity, so you're not trying to keep your eye on things and lock yourself into a small window, which may not be suitable due to the time of the day. So that's the answer. Definitely general. I just seen something change on the screen. Back to you, and thanks, Scott.
Alrighty, Daryl, we got you down for the general, and you have yourself, well, you enjoy the rest of your day, seems how it's only a little after noon there, I think. Let's go to AC4BR, Brian in Monticello, Kentucky. Good evening.
Well, good evening, Scott, and Vicky, and everybody on the net. We might get you in bed by 10 o'clock tonight, Scott. Anyway, I guess my answer would be, I really don't care, but I guess if I had to pick, I'd say general as well. Works a little easier sometimes when the fours are tail end, it gets a little bit late, but I'm a night owl, but even during the week, I have my limits. Anyway, you all have a good evening. This is AC4BR.
All right, thank you, Brian. Appreciate you joining us and got you down for general. Next up, N8OAY, Dave, SWL, Alabama. Good evening.
Well, I answered this earlier when I was replying to a question, but definitely don't fix it if it's not broke. The organization of call areas, I think, makes it easier. I think would make it easier to deal with than you guys having to deal with pile-ups. N8OAY.
Righty, Dave. Yeah, it's not really a matter of being broke and fixing it. It's a good organization always looks for ways to make things better if there is one. If there isn't one, well, we don't change it. But we're just getting an idea of whether it'll work or not for people. Thanks for joining us and appreciate your input. KJ5MNV, Bernard in Gretna, Louisiana. Good evening.
Good evening, and yes, it's a tongue twister, KJ5MNV. To answer the question, I'd have to say, from an operator perspective, who's going to stay in the net because that's what he wants to do tonight for his entertainment, I don't think either way it would make a difference to me. From maybe the system and a net controller, I think doing this experiment gives you some good input from the operators and whether this is a good idea or not, pertaining exactly to the TechNet. But I appreciate y'all's time, and I'll be back again. Y'all take care. Have a great night. KJ5MNV. Clear.
All right, thank you, Bernard. You have yourself a fine evening. Next up, one of our team members here, Joe, KO4FRR down in Sedento, Florida. Good evening, Joe.
Well, hello there, Scott, again. This is Joe, KO4FRR. I'm kind of out of sorts this evening because had dinner before 8 o'clock, ran into my room, turned the wrong HT on. Roger's gonna kill me. Mentioned about the listen live, but I forgot to answer the question. General sounds fun. This is Joe, KO4FRR. Back to you, Scott.
Joe, that was an early dinner for you, bud. You haven't had dinner that early since you were up here in the summer. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Next up, WJR, Andy in Cheektowaga, New York. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, Scott, everybody on the net. I prefer the call districts. I like checking in with the same group of guys every week, and I don't mind if the twos are at the end or whatever. It doesn't matter to me, but definitely like the structure of the call district. 7-3, everybody. Have a great week.
Thank you, Andy. And we were talking before the night that we used to have to divide the twos by zip code, by address, by Long Island and the rest of the state. It was crazy. Thanks for joining us. Let's go to K1 at KHJ, Perry in Tigard, Oregon. Good evening.
I think I like the call district for the reason that the gentleman earlier said that, so I kind of know when I'm up. But that's all. Thanks for doing the net. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good week. This is K1 KHJ.
Alrighty, thank you, Perry. Appreciate you joining us. And last on this list of check-ins, KN0LZE, Todd, Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. This is KN0LZE, Redstone Arsenal, Alabama, USA. I prefer the call district check-in, and some other operators mentioned the same thing about texting in. I can text in and then just wait to be called and just listen for my district and enjoy just kind of listening along through the evening. I kind of know where I am in the queue. This is KN0LZE.
All right, thank you, Todd, and that's what I was talking about before, about Echo Link and the Young King. Have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. All right, folks, let's take a few more radio check-ins. If you're looking to join us and you didn't text check-in and you want to get in, please come now.
WA2UUS, WA2UUS.
KB3 VPK, KB3 VP.
VK2 Delta Yankee, VK2 Delta Yankee.
4FHD, Kilo Quebec 4, Foxtrot Hotel Echo.
N0 TIS, N0 S.
It is 2 Echo Charlie Zulu, Sierra 2 Echo Charlie.
KF0 SYV, KF0 SYV.
Whiskey 0, Sierra Victor Hotel, checked in by text line. Of course, I've been mobile, so I didn't hear my call sign. W0SVH.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there for a moment. We recognize KF0 SYZ. Is that a correct call sign? Kilo Foxtrot 0, Sierra Yankee Zulu? F0 SY, like a Yankee V. Still not coming up. Is that KF0 Sierra Yankee Victor? Kilo Foxtrot 0 Sierra Yankee Victor. Alrighty, we got you that time, Galen. Then we had W0SVH Sean, KQ4FHE Pat, N0TIS Otis, KB3VPK Mary, WA2UUS, and ZS2EC in the next batch of text check-ins, and we'll get to you down in there. Alrighty, and VK2DY as well, we got you down in the text check-ins here. Let's go to WA2UUS, Joel in Buffalo, New York. Good evening, Joel. Question of the evening. Should we stay with call districts or go to general check-ins?
And everybody else on the net, I would stick with what works, I think, best, and that's the call districts. And I think the concerns about pileups is very appropriate because that happens all the time on HFs in a way. And they pile up and that'll create a chaotic situation, I feel. Thank you. Have a great evening. Everyone be well and be safe.
All right, Joel, thanks for your input and you have a great evening. This is W2BLT. Next up, KB3VPK, Mary in Easton, Pennsylvania. Good evening, Mary.
Good evening, everyone on the net. I think I want to see how the general works out. A lot of times I miss the beginning of the net because I'm at band rehearsal. And I get in the car and I'm like, okay, am I going to come up or am I done or are they done strict? I don't know. So if it's general, I could just chime in when I get in the car. Back to you, Scott, KB3VP.
Alrighty, Mary, got you down for general. Have a good evening. Next up, N0TIS, Otis from Beaumont, Texas. Good evening.
Hello, Scott. Vicky, Dick, Roger. Hey, Roger. How you doing? You good? Good. Let's see. I like the generals. I like it to just be, you know, as it flows, right? N0TIS, y'all have a great evening.
Alrighty, thank you, Otis. Appreciate you joining us. Have a great evening. KQ4, FAG, Pat, down in Harvest, Alabama. Good evening, Pat.
Everybody else on that, KQ4FAG. I would prefer the general check-in because the repeater I use, it disconnects from ECR at 9 o'clock. And if my call district is late, then I don't get to call in. Back to you, Scott.
Alrighty, Pat, and you beat it by 5 minutes tonight. Good job. W0SVH, Sean in Anderson, Texas. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, gentlemen, everybody on the net. It's kind of a toss-up for me. I really enjoy the call sign timeout because I know when I'm going to be called out. Like tonight, I did the text thing, but for whatever reason, I didn't hear my call, or maybe it didn't go through. But the general thing, it may work for nights when I can't stay up or wait until the my zero call sign comes around. So I can understand that. Like he said, sometimes if the zero call sign is late, I may get kicked off the repeater, may have to go back to my node, and that's happened to me a few times. W0SBH, back to you.
Thank you, Sean. You have yourself a great evening. And the last one of the radios for this round is KF0SYV. Galen in Woodbine, Iowa. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to everyone on the net, and I do appreciate you picking me up there. I'm gonna vote for the call district, I guess, even though my repeater times out at 9 o'clock, but it still, I don't know, seems to work pretty good. 7-3s, everybody. Have a good week.
Alrighty, thank you there, Galen. Appreciate you joining us. Let me recognize 10 more text check-ins here. We got ZS2EC, N8MJN, KA5GSS, W8CRW, KK7OGC, KQ4GLY, VK2DY, N7WZI, K2NKP, and W7MSL. We have a few other text check-ins that we'll take after the next round. We had KD3ATQ, KE2ARC, W2RBC, and KC0BBF. All right, let's go and run these 10. ZS2EC Tom over in Port Elizabeth on the eastern Cape of South Africa. Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, everyone. I've been part of this ECR net for a long time, and call districts will work for me. Too much chaotic responses over each other when it's general check-ins. But that's my point. Back to you, Scott, and local time here is 3:58 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Ooh, almost time to wake somebody up for work. You have a great day, Tom. Appreciate you joining us. N8MJN Marson up in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Good evening, Marson. And question of the evening, should we stay with call districts or go to general check-ins? N8MJN Marson, are you still with me? I don't know what's going on, but nothing heard. Let's go to KA5 GSS Shane in Beaumont, Texas. Good evening.
My vote is for general check-ins, and I'll tell you why. Some of us still work shift work and have to get up before the chickens, so we're in bed 8 o'clock or so, and the general check-ins would afford us the opportunity to jump into the log before it was our bedtime. I understand with the pile-ups, and I agree the pile-ups are a pain, but that's just my 2 cents. KA5 GSS, back to net.
Alrighty, thank you, Shane. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, CR down in Unionville, Pennsylvania. W8CRW. Good evening, CR.
Good evening, Scott, and all on the net. My vote is to stick with the call districts. It's more predictable, and you know it's going to be your turn. The other way, to me, is too unreliable. Back to net.
Alrighty, CR. Call districts it is. Thanks for joining us. KK7 OGC, Fred in Reno, Nevada. Good evening, Fred.
Good evening. It seems like this is a logging nightmare for Vicky with the alternating. I was going to go for general, but I'm going to go back to the call districts just because it seems more orderly. I'm going to go with Joe on this one. KK7OGC, back to net.
Alrighty, thanks for your input, Fred. Appreciate it. This is W2BLT. Let's go to KQ4 GLY, Chris in Paris, Florida. Good evening, Chris. What do you think?
Good evening, Scott and everyone on the net. My vote is for general. KQ4 GLY, back to you.
Alrighty, Chris, you did say call districts, right?
I know, Scott. General. I prefer general.
Alrighty, gotcha, Chris. Thanks for joining us. VK2DY, Robert over in Kellyville Ridge, New South Wales, Australia. Good afternoon, Robert. And what do you think? Call districts or just general check-ins?
Good afternoon, this is Robert, VK2DY. It's currently 20 degrees Celsius and overcast, about 68 Fahrenheit. Well, to tell you the truth, tonight I was within 5 minutes of giving up because I was waiting so long. So it's hard because it's early afternoon here. I have lots of things to do, and the call districts are very predictable. This is unpredictable. I probably will stop checking in if you abandon call. VK2DY. Back to next.
Alrighty, Robert. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Next up, Alan. Where you been? N7WZI. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody in the net. I'm going to say general check-ins because there's been times like out in Texas where my call sign came up last, and I was fixing to go to bed to go get ready to go to work, but so it's an open book with me either way, but I like the general better.
Alrighty, thank you, Alan. Appreciate you joining us. Good to hear you again. K2NKP, Mike in Tonawanda, New York. Good evening. Good
Good evening, Scott, and everybody else on the net. I'm going to throw my vote towards the call districts, just because I like the organization of it. And I had another question. This is, I think, my second time checking in. The first time when I checked in, they mentioned that my email address wasn't coming through from QRZ. I was just wondering if you could confirm that that is fixed now.
Looks like it's fixed. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you joining us. Next up, W7 MSL Michael in Omaha, Nebraska. Good evening. W7 MSL, are you still with me? Moving right along, let's take some more radio check-ins before we run the rest of the text check-ins. Anybody looking to join us, please come with your call sign twice and slowly.
Q8G, KQ8G, Troy, Michigan.
Good evening, Scott. KE7K.
Good evening, Scott. K4KWQ.
W2 PNR.
Kilo 5 Yankee November Uniform, K5 YNU. KK4 JJK.
This is 9 Yankee 4 Delta X-ray. 9Y4 DX. Virtual.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there. Recognizing from the bottom up, we had 9Y4DX, Bird from KK4JJK, John, K5, YNU, Florin, W2, PNR, Steve, K4KWQ, Tim, KE7K, Kevin, KQ8G, Carl in Troy, Michigan. Let's see, before I run this list, let me acknowledge the rest of the text check-ins, and I just wanted to let you know, text line's going to be closed now. We had KI5PMI, K3IM, K4KWQ, KC0BBF, Steve, W2RBC Randy, KE2ARC, and KD3ATQ. So, text line is closed. Let's go up and run these radio check-ins here. KQ8G, Carl in Troy, Michigan. Good evening, and should we stay with the call districts or go to general check-ins here on the TechNet?
Well, I think general check-ins is going to be quicker. And I would look at, the probability of what districts would take longer time based on the distribution of call signs across the 9 or 10 districts. So I would go with general. I think it would be quicker.
All right, thank you, Carl. Appreciate you joining us this evening. Next up, one of our team members out in Portland, Oregon, KE7K. Good evening, Kevin.
Hey, good evening, Scott. Love hearing you do the net as always. I'm kind of a traditionalist and I like order, so I want to say call districts, but in the back of my mind, the general check-ins really makes the most sense. You might not be around when your call district is called since they move around, so with generals, when you check in when you're available, so kind of makes sense, I guess. So put me down for general, I guess, Scott. Back to you, KE7K.
Alrighty, Kevin. General it is. Thanks for joining us, bud. K4, KWQ, Tim in Jackson, Michigan. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Scott. Thanks for running the net. K4, KWQ. I'll take my vote for general check-ins. Makes the most sense to me. 7-3 to everybody. K4, KWQ.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you joining us. Have a good rest of the evening. W2PNR, Stephen, East Morris, New York. I think. Good evening.
Scott, W2PNR. Initially, I was looking at call districts because I'm one of those organized types, but I've switched my vote towards general check-ins because I think it'll be more efficient. So, W2PNR, back to the net.
Thanks for your input. We appreciate it. Let's go out to Florin in Conroe, Texas. K5, YNU. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, and everyone on the evening net. I appreciate you picking me up. I will go for general. Many times happened to me when I wanted to check in, and I could not stay all the way when my call sign number came on. But I'll go for general. Thank you for doing the net. Everyone, back to the net control K5 YN.
All right, Florin, General it is. Thanks for joining us. This is W2BLT. Next up, KK4, JJK. Wow. John in Buffalo, New York. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, and thanks for having the net. I think for this particular net, put me down for the call districts. Something like the Morning Brew where it's more laid back. I wouldn't mind general check-ins, but something like this, I think you guys should stick with the district. So that's my input. 73 back to net control. KK4, JJK.
Thank you, John, and you're right, in the Morning Brew, that's more of a time sensitive, really, because you got guys that are just driving 20 minutes to work and checking in, so have a good evening. Next up, Bertrand, 9Y4DX, our world traveler here. Where are you at, Bertrand, and what do you think about the call districts or general check-ins?
Well, a pleasant evening to you, Net Control, Scott. This is 9Y4DX, Bertrand, and I am still in the United States. I'm in New Jersey at this time, just came down from Canada, and I'm just spending another few days here before I head back down to the Caribbean. Well, for me, to the question, I would prefer the way we are going, call time. You call in the district, and you know when your time is coming up. That's it from me. Back to you, Net Control. Pleasant evening all. This is 9Y4. The end.
Alrighty, Bertrand, enjoy the rest of your trip. Enjoy the cool weather while we have it. And you have an opportunity a lot of people don't. You have two numbers in your call sign. And one's at the beginning and one's at the end of the line. So you got the best of both worlds. Great talking with you. KD3ATQ, Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and the net. I prefer general check-ins, but it's only because occasionally I am running late and I don't make my call district. Back to you, Scott. KD3ATQ.
All right, thank you, Jim. Appreciate you joining us. KE2ARC, Ron in Sydney Center, New York. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Scott, and everybody on the net. Yeah, put me down for general. I kind of prefer to general myself, too, so
Everybody have a good evening. Back in that control, KE2ARC. All right, Ron, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Next up, one of our team members here, W2RBC, Randy in West Seneca, New York. Good evening, Randy.
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and everyone on the TechNet. I'll go with general check-ins. The net seems to run smoother without the repetitive call-outs for call districts. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
Alrighty, Randy, a point that I never thought of, to be honest. Appreciate you joining us, and have a good evening. KC0, BBF, Steve in Lincoln, Nebraska. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott, USNet, T0BBS, not much going on here. Doesn't really matter to me, because also the option of the text line is kind of nice, because then all you gotta do is just wait for your call to come around. Other than that, I'm enjoying a nice, cool evening here. You guys enjoy the rest of the week, and I'll probably remind myself to join you in the Zoom room tomorrow afternoon. Back to that, KC0BBS.
Alrighty, thanks, Steve. Appreciate you joining us, and have a great evening. Next up, K3IM, Jason. Looks like you're new to the system. You don't have an email on QRZ. If you make your email on QRZ public, we get you out a welcome letter down in Apollo, Pennsylvania. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening to you on the net, and I'm going to go with general check-in, and my reasoning is, had I not had my third dose of chemotherapy and been pumped full of steroids today, I would probably be comfortably sleeping right now. So go ahead and put me down for general, and I will make that email address public. It's jjadon@gmail.com if you want it now.
Well, our emails are looked up through QRZ, and it just popped up that you don't have one, that's public. But thanks for joining us, and don't be a stranger. We're here every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Love to have you join us again. Last on the text check-ins, KI5, PMI, Bill in Hobbs, New Mexico. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody on the bridge. I like the call districts, but I'm good either way, sir. So put me down for call districts, please. Everybody have a good night. KI5 PMI. Back to that.
Alrighty, Bill, call districts it is. Thanks for joining us. Alrighty, folks, we're going to put a call out for radio check-ins. This will be the last round of radio check-ins here. They're going to end the night, so if you'd like to join us here on the morning brew, on the TechNet, please come with your call sign twice and slowly.
Whiskey India, KD6CWI. Good evening. KO4CLD, KO4CLD. Bravo 5, India, Tango, Tango, WB5, ITT, Mobile, in and out, good evening all.
Alright, let's hold up there for a moment. I got WB5 ITT, Chris in Beaumont, Texas, was in and out. Thanks for joining us, Chris. We had KO4 CLD, Mike in Tuscumbia, Alabama, and KD6 CWI, Ruben in Fallbrook, California. Had a station coming in there, I believe it was in or out of Orlando there. All we got was noise. You want to try it again? Nothing heard. Is there anyone else that would like to join us? Last call for check-ins on the TechNet. Please come now.
ECR, Papa Rome.
November Whiskey 4 Quebec, NW4Q.
Alrighty, we'll hold it up there. That station coming in through the GM repeater in Detroit, you're right on the fringe. You want to try that again? Sounded like it had a K something, PR something.
That's Kilo 8, Papa Romeo Oscar.
We got you this time, Paul. Alrighty. Well, let's run this list. Let's go up to the top of this list. KD6CWI, Ruben and Fallbrook. Good evening, Ruben. And should we stay with call districts or go to general check-ins?
First of all, thank you for doing the net tonight. You're doing an awesome job. So my vote would be call district. It's the more organized one. That's my personal preference. Otherwise, stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy life, and God bless everyone and their family. 73 KD6CWI.
Alrighty, thank you, Ruben, and have yourself a great evening. Next up, KL4CLD. Good evening, Micah.
Good evening, Scott. Well, I'm probably going to go with general check-in. I know it's hard on the net control and the loggers, but being able to get people in and out, it basically caters to the ease of the people out here trying to check in. But I understand that it would definitely be harder for the loggers, but y'all are so good at it on the morning brew, so I think y'all can handle it. KO4CLD, back to you, Scott.
Thank you, Micah. You have yourself a great evening. Appreciate you joining us. Like I said, WB5ITT Chris and Beaumont was in and out. Let's go to NW4Q, Jim in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. I guess I would go with the general, even though either one would be fine. Thanks a lot.
General it is. Thanks for joining us, Jim. And last on this list for tonight, K8PRO, Paul, Stockbridge, Michigan. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody on the net tonight. I would general check-ins.
All right, general check-ins it is. And we got you down for general. Have a good night, Paul, and thanks for joining us. All right, folks, that's going to do it for tonight. Another successful net, kind of interesting. We'll look at the answers and see how things shake out. For WB2JPQ Dick, KE8VKY Vicky, this is W2BLT Scott in Buffalo, thanking everybody and wish everybody a great evening and returning the reflector to normal amateur use. 7-3.
Great net, thank you.
But I think it was just an accident that the net control operator did it by call areas one morning, and it was a question I wanted to answer. So it was kind of really frustrating that I couldn't get in, and poor Dick got an eyeful in an email from me, but it wasn't personal. I was just kind of shocked that they were doing the brew by call areas that one morning. See you tomorrow morning, KF6HDJ.
Bravo Foxtrot, where it is been located, Orlando, Florida.
This is KE2CCK listening.
C5CZX, you still listening, Daryl? K4KWQ.
ARC, KE2ARC, this is KE2CCK. You still listening?